your top 4 selections?
I like Blake, Cebu Play, Patriotic Rebel, and Gold Onyx. But obviously, I'm shouting Wagner home.
That goes without saying.
I wish Garth was riding it for me, then I'll be very confident.
There we go. On to race number 8, which is the Champions Cup. It's grade 1 over the 1,800-meter trip. And we'll take a look at the slide of these runners. We got number 1, Jackson, Brett Crawford and Sean Cormack. A cracking run in the Mercury, went just over 3 lengths behind All Is Secret. Number 2, White Line Fever, Bernard Faderb and Sean Terry. Down the page, number 5, A Run For It, the current favourite, Pierce Straden for the Justin Snaith stable. Number 8 is Blazer Fire for the Yvette Bremner stable. Carice Teeton rides. That's a look at the top 8 runners. Moving on to the second slide of those runners, probably number 13, No Worries from the Gavin Van Zyl stable, and number 15, Espumanti from the Mike de Kock stable. They'll be looking to stand out there. Looking at the Champions Cup, Jackson, White Line Fever, Run For It. Who would you be in the camp of, Garth?
I tipped the Run For It to win the July at 66 to 1. I said to Justin, he should have gelded him a long time ago, I suggested, and either racehorse or stallion. And now he's a racehorse, I believe he's back. Cormac has jumped ship, he's on Jackson. Top horse, obviously, also probably battling with his, because he's in the entire. I would go, if you ask me, I'm going to go Run For It. I do believe in second run after rest. I don't care. Most trainers, top trainers say no, they don't. But then you look at their runners and they never come into a big race on the second run. All the big guys that say no, they don't worry about second run. Because we don't have the tracks of that to prepare horses like they do overseas. So I believe horses need that second run. Getting back to that other horse that we just looked at earlier on, it was also going to be his second run, Canterbury Tales. That was his second run that was a bit disappointing. Yeah, I think the Gold Cup run will be a good run. So coming back to this horse, Jackson's got to still get out there and do it, but he is the class act in the race. He's beaten them before. But I'll stick my neck out and say Run For It's a horse to beat. I have a horse in the race that I think, ridden correctly, is a big runner. And I think he could fill up the quartet.
What happened last time? He seemed to run into some traffic problems at about the 200?
No, the wheels fell off at the 200. That's why he had traffic problems. You only get knocked out of a race at that stage of the race if you don't have the energy to hold your position. He had over raced. Bernard couldn't get him in from the draw. He raced 4 wide the whole way, and he pulled himself up the hill, which Bernard agreed killed him. And he challenged halfway down the straight with 62 on his back. And then, obviously, the wheels fell off. He's horse that's had problems, but settled, he'll go through most of these horses.
Run For It, is he going to be your first selection, or have you got 1 or 2 other lurkers waiting in the wings?
Look, I've got to agree with what Garth said. I saw this horse 2 years ago when he ran in the July behind Igugu, and I saw him on July Day, and I couldn't believe it was the same horse. So there's no doubt that the gelding has turned this horse around. He's always had the ability. Very, very outstanding run in the July. To get beat ahead in the July, you've got to, say that to me, he still looked like he might have come on with that run. He might have still just been a little bit underdone in the July. And I'm not knocking Justin. I thought he was well prepared. But when they went down, he just went down a little bit into the best. I still believe that he'll get better, this horse. He's the best weighted horse in the race by a long shot. He's, according to the handicap, he went to a 111. He's fortunate enough to have had a great jockey on Sean Cormac riding him, and he's been blessed with Pierce Straden, so there's nothing wrong with that either. You understand? So everything points to Run For It being the horse they have to beat. Jackson, once again, as I said, because Garth's sitting here, I'm not agreeing with him because he's sitting here, but he's 100% right what he said. From a training point of view, I just don't know if he had the best prep. He's got the ability, he's got the class, he's looking unreal. I thought his last run in the sprint was very, very good. Second run 2 weeks later from a 1200 to an 1800 in this company, top weight, he's got it all to do. I think Sean has just been loyal to Mr. Dreyer and the Crawford stable as well. If he wins, the nicest people in the game, Ian Longmore and Brett Crawford, I'm hoping for them, but I just don't believe he had the best prep in the. But I don't know. The other horse that I've got to just touch on is Mark de Kock's filly, Espermante. I know she's 1-3 her last run was outstanding. Her last run, she ran to a lot higher than what they've given her, 105. If you look at the line of form through Beach Beauty, there's never much between Run For It, Beach Beauty, the weights. If she stays the extra 200 meters of this weight of 52, there's no doubt in my mind the 3-year-old fillies were a lot stronger than the 3-year-old colts this season. I think that this could be the dark horse in the race. If Run For It's not, if something just goes wrong, I believe that Espumante could be there to pounce on him. So I'm believing that it's a 2-horse race, Espumante and Run For It.
Talking about a 2-horse race, let's have a look at Run For It's replay, and we also got a replay of Espumante, so we'll take in those 2 replays, and then we'll move on to race number 9.
Punta Arenas. Jet Explorer just bides his time at the rail. Run For It's behind him. Hill 54, Wiley Hall, Pomodora. Do you remember White Line Fever, Seal, Cape Town Noir? E-Jet, Lovestruck looks to get going. Jet Explorer on the inside, Run For It. Do you remember's running on? Punta Arenas, Showgunner, Pomodora. Wiley Hall starts to unwind. Heavy Metal also gets into it late. Absolute Stampede. Jet Explorer the last 100. Heavy Metal gets going. Heavy Metal and Run For It. Heavy Metal with his head in front. Heavy Metal won it. Run For It second. Do you remember? No Worries was flying up in the latter stages as they...
A tremendous run from Run For It from the Justin Snaith stable. Obviously the gelding's done him the world of good. He was finishing off his race. He was challenging Heavy Metal right down to the line. So not much to choose going down to the post there. Come Saturday, no doubt number 5, Run For It. He's going to have his supporters, and he is going to be one of the likely bankers on the card. Let's take a look at Espumante's run, and then we'll be back with a wrap for our 1, 2, and 3 selections from the panelists who do believe Espumante could be the horse to topple Run For It if he fluffs his lines.
Now followed then by Espumante with the white cap. Followed further back in the field by Thunder Dance, then Beach Beauty, Princess Victoria. On the inside, Felix the Cat. They are homeward bound without malice. The leader Luve's the first one to challenge. Princess Victoria's going through down the inside. Then comes Espumante. Beach Beauty still got about 4 or 5 to make up. Then Happy Archer. Meanwhile, Luve has come clear. Leave Espumante. Beach Beauty now runs on. Luve the leader. Now Beach Beauty starts to nail Princess Victoria. But Beach Beauty, once again, she shows her class. And Beach Beauty won it. Second will go to Espumante, Luve, and then Princess Victoria.
A really cracking run from the filly Espumante, coming out second best to Beach Beauty. And Garth, that's no disgrace. Beach Beauty's the best we got around, and Espumante ran an absolute cracker.
Oh, that was a great race, yeah. That was a great run.
From that run, do you think she would have come on nicely with that run under the belt at Greyville?
She would have definitely come on. Definitely come on.
And Joe, your sentiments, you feel that Espumante could be the horse if Run For It fluffs his lines?
I think probably the only horse that could beat Run For It if he does fluff his lines. You know, Mark de Kock, you've got to take the factor into account. It just gets him to peak at the right time. That will bring her on the confidence. She's running snatches there. I see Beach Beauty come from behind her, but when when Beach Beauty passed her, she sort of plugged on, so sort of come back at her. Maybe the 1800 will even be a bit better, and I think that if you look at her run, she'll prefer the going on Saturday than what it was on July Day. So I think she's a big runner, but an exciting race. We could be wrong. Ice Machine could win it, hopefully for Garth's sake or whatever else. There's some real, very, very classy individuals running. I think this could be one hell of a racer.
Your 1, 2, 3?
I've got to go Run For It, Espumante, and I like this horse Bravura to run a place, come back to form, one of those older horses that get their confidence back, maybe just for the trifecta, a little bit of Bravura.
And your top 3, Garth?
I'd go Run For It, Jackson, White Line Fever, and Ice Machine.
There we go. Ice Machine worth throwing into the mix of things for the trifectas and
Don't
quartets.
leave him out.
Don't leave him out. That's the word from Garth Puller. Ignore that last run when he over-raced and he was caught wide out. Moving on to race number 9. This is the gold bracelets. It's grade 2. Having a look at the runners, one of the class packages is the top weight, number 1, Thunder Dance. In fact, they all carry the 60 kilograms, their majority. Anthony Del Pesh for the Mark de Kock stable. Number 2 is Louvre. This is from the Duncan House stable, ridden by Alec Forbes. Down the page, number 4, Happy Archer, Sean Terry, Samanga Kumalo. And then down to the bottom end, the 2 fillies carrying 58.5. Those are the 3-year-olds. Number 8, Jet Bell, and number 9, Dylan's Promise. That's from the Charles Laird stable. A lot of talk about Jet Bell. Do you think she's the horse to beat, Garth?
I really think she's the horse to beat. Her form, I mean, brilliant form to Mr. Ferraris' filly, and the brilliant form to Do You Remember? So she's definitely the horse to beat. I mean, if you look at the run of Do You Remember in the July, unbelievable run. I know the going probably was far superior on the inside. It only showed that after they moved the rail, and unfortunately for most people, the July was the testing ground, and you saw the horses improve. And going through the day, you look at a horse like Beach Beauty, turned for home, looked like she was getting stuck a little bit in the middle, switched to the inside, and all of a sudden she took off. And all the good runs were down the inside after the feature race. But in saying that, Jet Bell ran a brilliant race.
Joe, do you think she's the horse to beat?
Probably the best bet on the card. For the punters out there, I believe that the horse of Warren Marshall's in the 6th race, and Jet Bell, the best double on the day. You know, you've got to work on something in racing, Sheldon, and if you look at her form, the head Do You Remember, we're talking about July form here with Do You Remember running to Run For It, and Heavy Metal. She's in the wrong race. I think she would have had a big chance if she was in the Champions Cup. So getting weight from these fillies from her own sex, we've got to work on something. The top filly of this season, Cherry on the Top, she just kept improving all the time. If the trip doesn't, I don't believe it'll come too soon. I mean, it's 2 months since she was here the last time. Robbie Sage knows what he's doing, top trainer. To me, if you can't make this a good thing or have a bet on a filly like this, then I don't think we should be playing racing. So I honestly think it should be very, very difficult to beat. I thought the only danger is the other class horse in the race, number 1, Thunder Dance. There was problems leading up to her last start. You know, she was intended to run at Turpentine 2 or 3 weeks before the July, and there was a hoof abscess they found. So it's always going to, you know, affect her performance in the Garden Province. But I would say that she's probably the only danger to Jet Bell. But I think that at the end of the day, you've got to take your chances and bank her in everything.
That's the call from the guests. Banker, Jet Bell, you've got to nail your colours to the mast. Let's look at a replay of the Willavington 2000 at Greybull and see if Jet Bell's going to bring home the money on Saturday.
Cherry on the top gives Blue Ridge Mountain 5 lengths. They're followed by El Kindi, and then comes Jet Supreme. Top of the stretch, and the leader, Priceless Jewel. Blue Ridge Mountain's going to make an early move. Can Cherry on the top quicken with her? And it's Blue Ridge Mountain at the 200-meter marker. Priceless Jewel down the inside, Jet Bell. Cherry on the top is now looking for the room. And it's Blue Ridge Mountain, the leader. Cherry on the top is hard ridden. Do You Remember's coming home well. Jet Bell on the inside. Blue Ridge Mountain's digging in deep. Blue Ridge Mountain, Do You Remember? Here's the line. Do You Remember won it from Blue Ridge Mountain, Jet Bell, then Cherry on the top.
Certainly you've got to like that replay of Jet Bell going oh so close there. And come Saturday, I'm sure she's going to have a lot of supporters. Thank you very much, Garth, for being on the show. Your input is, as always, outstanding.
Pleasure, Sheldon. Nice being here. Thank you.
Joe, nice to have you on the show as well. You got the runner on Saturday, so all the best with Wagner.
Thanks very much, and it was really enjoyable doing the show with Garth, the experience and the advice, and we see it from another angle, and it's always very, very, how can I say, rewarding at the end of the day. Thanks, Garth.
No, great. Thanks to have my 2 guests on the show. Awesome day's racing awaits us, so you've got to get down to Greybull on Saturday. Super Saturday brings down the curtain, 3,200 meters. And for those of you who want to go onto the Gold Circle site, onto the YouTube, you can click onto the link there. You can watch some replays. You can see the show and numerous other things, the interviews. Great site to get onto that YouTube site. That's a wrap from myself, Sheldon Peters. We'll see you on Saturday, Gold Cup Day.